Hey guys, my name is Doug with Infotainment.com. Today we're working with a 2007 to 2010 Jeep Wrangler. Basically what we're going to do today is show you guys how easy it is to install the Infotainment.com backup camera kit. Basically what you do is you take your spare tire off, whether it's an aftermarket one or a factory one. You're going to take it off. You're going to slide this camera over the bracket. It does have an adjustable head, so you just loosen up the screw. So if you need to offset it a little bit, this will swivel back and forth 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, now that we have the spare tire off, you notice the studs here. We can go ahead and install our camera right over those studs. So when we install the spare tire back on, it'll push and hold this in place. Again, depending if you have factory wheels or aftermarket wheels, you may need to loosen up this screw and adjust the camera either way to poke out through one of the spokes. As far as the remaining part of the wiring, what we're going to do is we're going to come in down this cavity here. You can also come in down the side as well. But ultimately what we want to do is gain access to the inside of the rear door here. Now what you'll notice is if you press down on this panel here, you'll notice some more factory wiring here. So we're going to want to run along this wiring all the way up to behind the radio. So now what we're going to do is we're going to want to connect the extension wiring from the quick disconnect right here. A lot of times what people do is put a little bit of electrical tape around here to kind of keep it nice and snug. But basically the way we gain access into the vehicle, you could go through this little grommet here and kind of customize that as you prefer. The easiest way that we found is to go through this vent here. So once you get in through the vent, basically what you're going to do is you're going to fish for it and you're going to have it come out right here. Now what we can do is we can just pull all the wiring through here. All right, now that we have our wiring in, we can use our included zip ties or cable ties. We can now run our wiring in through here and then up along the quarter and then down the floorboard all the way to behind the radio. And if the camera can see it, what we're getting to is right up in here. These four wires here that go into this grommet are the wires for the reverse tail lamp and the brake lamp and the turn signal. So what we have here are four wires. The black wire is your ground, and the white wire with the gray stripe is your reverse tail lamp. So with a lot of cameras, installers will just connect into ground and the reverse tail lamp wire, which will be hot when the vehicle's in reverse. So in this particular video, what we're going to do, our supplier changed up our loom going from the camera to the radio just a few months ago. So this is an updated video. We're actually going to use our posi taps. We're going to tap into these two wires. So our red will go to the white with gray stripe, and our black will go to black. So I'll show you how to do that now. All right, now to install the posi taps on the loom here, I'm gonna have Sammy demonstrate. I'm gonna hold the wire and he's gonna demonstrate how to put them on.
All right. So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna put this cap in, the open side, into the wire you choose to connect the posi tap to. Get that side. And then next thing you're gonna do is make sure that this tip of the wire is making contact with that piece of aluminum in there. And then all you do is twist. Make sure you twist the contact and not the little cap, so you don't twist the wire. And then you do a little tug to make sure it's in there.
And then you do the other one. Same way. Now, for those of you who are actual installers, some of you prefer to use T-taps. Some of you actually like to splice and solder. Those are obviously other great methods as well. We kind of try to tailor these kits to the beginners. So we found that these little posi taps work actually very well. If you want more information on posi taps, sometimes if you look on YouTube, there's some great demonstration videos as well. But basically, these are pretty neat for those of you who haven't seen it. So basically, all you're gonna do now is you're gonna take the gray portion. So in this case, we're gonna connect the red wire to the white wire with gray stripes. So basically, if the camera can see, we're just gonna do that. And then it's just a matter of twisting our red wire onto the cap until it's nice and tight, like this. So that gives us a perfect way to tap into that wire without having to cut and splice. It's, if you notice in the inside of the posi tap itself, it's got a little point. So it's just getting into the wire itself and goes through the shielding. It gets to the wire. All right, now that it's nice and tight, we have our black connected to the black and our red connected to the white with gray stripe. That's our reverse taillight signal. So at this point, what we can do is we can kind of just bring the excess slack, use some electrical tape and make it nice and pretty. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run the wiring to the front. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. As long as you get this wiring up there, I'm going to kind of tuck it behind the carpet here in the quarter. It just tucks right in. Can't even see it. Now I'm running it behind the hinge strike, just so we don't get it caught in anything. And as you can see, I'm just running it down behind the carpet. Basically just following the factory wiring. It's very easy. Kind of peel back the carpet a little bit and just keep making your way forward. Now some of you may opt to take the center pillar panel here and pop it up. But again, for the most part, you can just pull it up just enough to hide the cable underneath. All right, so we have our wiring. Came down the panel here. I did remove this little butterfly clip here, or a Christmas tree. So pulled it out, it was just a little tight right here in the corner, so that gave me just enough leeway to get it in. Put it in back here, kind of snaked it around behind the carpet, and now we're right here. So now we can interface this with the radio. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to route the cable up into the center console now. And I'm going to do it down here. Now that it's in, I can run our video cable up to that C2T plug. So we're almost done. All right, now that we have our wiring up here, we're gonna need to connect our video input into the radio. So to do so, we're gonna have to take apart the dash here. It's very easy. This is an aftermarket piece in this customer's vehicle. The factory part that's on the top here comes off the same way. It's just held in with retaining clips, and it just lifts up and sets aside. That gives us access to the two 7mm screws on the top. And then down here below, there's a little plastic trim piece down here that needs to come out. You can use a trim pry tool or a regular screwdriver, just held in with retaining clips, and then that pops out as well. That gives you access to the two 7mm screws on the bottom. We can now pull the dash out for the bezel. That gives us enough room to access the 4 screws that hold in our radio. Now this radio here, we installed previously. It is a full touchscreen radio. We do offer touchscreen radios on our website to make the backup camera completely compatible. Basically, what we're going to do now is we're going to plug in our C2T cable or harness. It's going to be in this port right here, which is the 3rd one. Once that's plugged in, we're going to route the video line down to probably right around, maybe right in between the 2 ducts there. We'll kind of just have it hang in there, and then we can reinstall our radio. Now, if you already have a factory touchscreen radio or an aftermarket radio, those are all still compatible with our system, our backup camera system. So we can reinstall the screws for the radio at this point. All right, now that we have our wiring ran up behind the bezel here, we can plug the 2 RCAs in together. You can use a little bit of electrical tape just to ensure it's not going to come out. But once you do that, you could set that aside. Now in this case, you could use a little bit of wire ties, zip ties, and make everything nice and pretty. And then we can pop our bezel back on. We're going to stick all the excess cable behind this wire harness here, kind of in between the vents to give us enough room to pop our bezel back on. Now all we have to do is install our 4 screws and pop everything back into place. All right, the last part of the installation is we're going to run our OBD Genie programmer. Now what this does is it programs the vehicle for backup camera, so when you stick the vehicle in reverse, the screen changes to the backup camera image. So to do so, start the vehicle, let it initialize for 10 seconds, and then we're just going to plug it into the OBD2 port. You'll see a series of lights. All we're waiting for is the green light. Now that the light has appeared, we can just remove it and stow it away. All right, now that we ran the Genie, we got the green light. You'll also notice your radio will reset. As soon as it resets, you know everything's been programmed properly. So put your vehicle in reverse, and it toggles on your new backup camera. As I mentioned, this camera also works with aftermarket radios as well. If you need a factory radio, come check us out at Infotainment. All right, we went ahead and put the spare tire on, and what we noticed after adjusting the camera is it's a little bit too far behind the aftermarket wheel. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the included extension here so the camera sticks out a little bit further. All right, guys, we went ahead and put the extension on here so it sticks out perfect so you have a nice field of view. So that completes our installation. Come check us out, guys, infotainment.com. Thanks for watching.